The storm tried to hide her. Rain hammered the city like punishment, drowning streetlights in silver tears. No one noticed the woman curled on the bench, except the man who stepped out of a black car, staring as though he was looking at someone he had known his whole life. When he finally spoke, his voice trembled. "You're coming with me?" And nothing in their lives was ever the same again. The streets were a blur of headlights and rushing water. The night heavy with a kind of sadness that only storms can carry. Rain poured down with relentless cruelty, washing away footprints, hope, and every trace of warmth. Most people hurried through it, umbrellas tilted against the wind, hearts locked away. But one woman did not hurry. She had nowhere to go. Claire. Bennett sat hunched on a splintered bench beneath a flickering bus stop lamp. Her soaked hair clung to her face, her clothes plastered to her trembling body. A khaki backpack rested at her feet, everything she owned inside it. Her fingers were numb, her thoughts even colder. Beside her stood a little girl in a faded pink hoodie, clutching a three-legged plastic unicorn. The toy had been broken weeks ago, but the child refused to let it go. It was the only thing that had never left her. The girl's name was Lily. She was only 4. Her eyes were too wise. Too tired, too quiet for a child that young. Every few seconds, she lifted her head to look at her mother as though asking a question she no longer bothered to voice. "Are we going to be okay?" The world rushed past them, cold and indifferent. Cars passed. People stared. No one stopped, until one did. A sleek black car slowed, pulled to the curb. A man stepped out into the rain, leaving the door open behind him. The storm soaked his coat instantly, but he didn't seem to feel it. His gaze was fixed on the woman and the child, as though something inside him had snapped. He crossed the street. His name was Alexander Reed. People knew his face from magazine covers, business articles, Forbes lists, a CEO worth millions, a man whose decisions shaped companies, futures, fortunes. But in that moment, he wasn't a tycoon. He was a son remembering a night very much like this one. He approached carefully. He knelt. Not in front of the mother, but in front of the little girl. "Hey there," he said softly. "Where's your dad?" The child lifted her eyes and pointed. To the woman on the bench? "Mommy's tired." It was only 3 words, but they broke something inside. Claire lifted her face. Rainwater and exhaustion flowed across her features, though she could still manage a wary look. She had learned painfully that pity often comes with strings, that kindness is sometimes just another word for danger. Her body tensed, ready to protect her daughter. She was prepared for judgment, for scolding, for someone to tell her to move along. But instead, the man whispered, "You're coming with me." Claire went still. What?" Her voice cracked. "You're not waiting for a bus in the rain," he said firmly. "Not tonight. Not with her." "I don't," she began. "No conditions," he cut in. "No questions. You need a safe place." "I have one. Come," her instinct screamed. "Don't trust him." But her daughter's teeth were chattering. Her limbs were numb. The rain wasn't stopping. And she was so tired. She didn't answer. She simply nodded. He wrapped a blanket around Lily, guiding them to the car. Inside, warmth bloomed like a miracle. The little girl fell asleep within minutes, her tiny hand resting on her mother's lap. Halfway through the drive, Claire whispered, "Why are you doing this?" He stared at the road for a long time before answering. "When I was 6. He said quietly, "My mother waited at a bus stop in a storm. We were alone. No one stopped. I swore if I ever had the chance to help someone like her, I would." The house he brought them to wasn't extravagant the way tabloids imagined. It was warm, lived in, safe. He didn't throw money at her. He didn't pity her. He gave her food. A warm bed, a doctor for Lily, time to breathe. For days. Claire slept like someone recovering from war. Then she woke and rose. She cooked breakfast out of gratitude, cleaned quietly, helped fold laundry. He would shake his head each time with the same gentle answer, "You don't owe me anything." Claire, just help someone else someday. He introduced her to a nonprofit program. He funded a shelter for displaced women. He sat through job interviews, made calls, asked for nothing. Weeks passed. Claire stood before a mirror one morning wearing scrubs again. Her name stitched on her badge. She was a nurse, a mother, a woman with dignity restored, her daughter. Now laughing with classmates in preschool, won an award for kindness, and every Sunday. Claire returned to that bus stop. She handed out meals, blankets, hygiene kits. When people asked her why she stood in the rain for strangers, she would smile and say, "Because one night someone looked at me and said, 'You're coming with me,' and he meant it." Alex never sought praise. He didn't want headlines, didn't want applause. He simply refused to walk past people who had fallen, and in the end, he didn't save just one life. Claire saved dozens every time she reached a shaking hand in the rain and whispered, "Come with me. You're safe now."